Bitcoin's going to save us, and it's going to save us personally. It's going to save the nation. The path to that, there may be some pain in between. There likely will be, but I'm an optimist, and that's why we started this hedge fund. That's why we've got the Bitcoin Opportunity Fund, because we believe in Bitcoin and the ecosystem. We're investing in it.
Bitcoin isn't just digital cash. Soon, it will change the world in ways we will never expect. That's the latest prediction out from James Lavish, a distinguished macro analyst and former hedge fund manager. In a recent interview, he explained how much he believes in Bitcoin's potential to improve lives and protect against problems in traditional finance. While he predicts some challenges ahead as we shift into a new era of finance, he sees Bitcoin as the key to a more open, sustainable future. His team launched the Bitcoin Opportunity Fund, a high-growth fund designed to help others invest in Bitcoin's long-term potential. Because to them, Bitcoin stands for more than just profit. It's about giving people freedom over their finances and a chance to save their future. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video to hear James Lavish reveal what the election has in store for Bitcoin. Also guys, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy staying up to date with finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free and you can always change your mind. Now, here's James Lavish on how Bitcoin is better than gold.
It's been forming for months now.
Right, and when it breaks 73, it's going to squirt to 100 like lickety split, don't you think?
Yeah. So if you pull up that flag, that's about right. And it's, once it gets through that $70,000 level, it's going to have, like right now, where the flag, the trajectory of it is about 66,000. If it breaks through there, it's kind of interesting here. All right. Can you all see this?
Yeah.
All right. So this has been a bull flag that's been forming for months here. Okay, this is the daily. So if you go to the weekly, it's easier to see. But this has been forming for this long. Here's the flagpole right here. After we had the ETFs approved, and we had that sell off, which was a fake out. You had this flagpole created, and now you have lower highs and lower lows that continue as you consolidate through here, right? So now, as we've consolidated, we keep consolidating. You could see just this last week, we bounced right off that flag. I mean, it's just incredible. We bounced right off of it. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that traders look at this and they watch this and they say, okay, it's not quite ready yet. And so now here we are this week, starting today, we're down, But once it breaks through this level, which is about 66,000, then the next level is the all-time high. And that all-time high is what, 72 and change?
73-ish, yeah.
Yeah, 73,000. So once it breaks through that, then it's price discovery, and that's it.
Do you have any concerns that Bitcoin will face political forces that are against it because they can't control it, and that when these crises accelerate and intensify and potentially the dollar is under threat, that they might turn against something like Bitcoin?
The question is, who is they? Because one of the issues that we've seen over the past few years of decreasing demand internationally for U.S. bonds, and especially long-term treasuries, is that we did something monumentally stupid, like monumentally dumb, when we seized and froze and seized Russian assets and treasuries. That signaled to the world that if you're not a direct ally of the United States and you do something we don't agree with, we may just take your toys away from you. We literally take your money from you. And so that just signaled to the world to be careful about owning and trusting the government, U.S. government, and long-term treasuries. It was so monumentally stupid that might have been the biggest mistake that this administration has done.
We weaponized the dollar. Yeah,
weaponized the treasury and the dollar. Yeah, it was so dumb, and it's going to be painful. So that's one reason that these sovereigns have turned to gold and have turned to, and BRICS in my opinion, isn't trying to start their own currency. They're just trying to figure a way out of having to own U.S. treasuries in order to make energy deals and to have cross-border trade. How can we do that? Well, one of the long-term solutions Gold is not a great solution for that. Gold-backed currencies is not a great solution to that, because it's very difficult for them to determine how much gold you actually had. Can you see President Xi and Putin allowing their operatives to go into their vaults to count up their gold and to test it to make sure? No, of course that's not going to happen. So what could they do that's different? Well, they could do it with Bitcoin. And, we've heard Russia kind of banging drums about, we'll accept cryptocurrency, we'll accept Bitcoin. We'll see how much that really comes to fruition, and whether they're not out there mining or whatever they're doing. I think the evidence is strong that they're out there mining in Siberia. But, I think that long term, sure, the foreign countries and foreign sovereigns should be putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets. And this is the game theory. This is where it comes down to game theory and who they are. And if you're talking about the United States and worried about Bitcoin being a threat to the US dollar, it's not a threat to the dollar. It might just save it. And that's the whole point.
Meanwhile, according to Bitcoin magazine, Bitcoin is on a record-breaking streak, with its hash rate hitting an all-time high, a clear sign of its unmatched strength and security. This milestone shows that confidence in Bitcoin is on the rise, with miners worldwide ramping up the network like never before. Every boost in hash rate makes Bitcoin tougher and more reliable. As more people get on board, Bitcoin is inching closer to heights we've never seen before. Now let's go back to what James Lavish has to say.
First of all, great uncertainty is not great for markets. Markets hate uncertainty. And so with Bitcoin, you're definitely sensing some uncertainty here. With, we saw the Nikkei was down almost 5% last night. It's like, are we going to have another, yen carry trade issue, or is liquidity actually being drawn out? Are we actually heading into a recession that we're going to have to stomach first? There's a ton of trading capital in Bitcoin, and they're moving around this thing, and it's not that big yet. So $1 trillion asset is nothing. It's just a fraction of a percent of the total investable assets in the world. When you have $900 trillion of investable assets in the world, and you've got an asset that's less than $1 trillion, yeah, it's going to get whipped around, especially when it's been the tip of the wrist spear for so long. So that's one thing. But long term, and the reality is, and Sam did a great job with Lynn Alden on this, and in studying this, and it was in Bloomberg actually this weekend. They quoted the study that Bitcoin is highly correlated to the long term growth and liquidity. And so when you have money supply expanding over the long term, Bitcoin will follow that. It may not follow it week to week or even month to month, certainly not day to day, but it will follow it long term. And so if you just pull back and you just eliminate all the noise and you hear nothing else from this conversation but this, just remember that as Larry said, central banks are trapped. Sovereigns are trapped. They have no choice. We have so much debt. We have so much leverage in the world that we have no choice but to build on that leverage, expand on that leverage, expand on the money supply in order to keep the charade going. And Bitcoin will ultimately benefit from that even more than gold. First thing, we've known that for a very long time, the last two election cycles, Trump's support has been underreported. I mean, that's just reality. Part of that, I believe, is the reason that the mainstream media has villainized anybody who has been in support of Trump for the last 10 years, basically. And they've said if you're in support of that, you're far right extremist, you're racist, you don't care about women, you're sexist, and basically it's become this thing with the mainstream media that if you're for Trump, then you're an extremist. Now, what I believe has happened over the last 10 years is that the Democrats they've been captured by the far left, and they've moved that middle, that center, all the way to left. So if you're just a regular conservative and you were kind of in the middle before, you're now being seen as a far right extremist. So, but you're not. But okay, so that's one thing. So that's always been underreported, at least for the time that Trump has been in this election conversation or had been president. So that's one. The second thing is, yeah, the mainstream media, it's been shown that these polls are oversampling Democrats. I mean, you oversample Democrats, you're going to get a higher Democratic number. Polymarket doesn't look like it's been accurate recently. It looks like it's also been kind of captured and being manipulated. I don't know how or why, but it doesn't foot with some of the more independent polls. You know, Rasmussen I've been watching has Trump ahead solidly in many of those swing states, and that he's ahead in the overall vote. He may be ahead in the popular vote, which is just astounding. So that's all part of the confusion. I don't know what the real numbers are. Nobody really knows, you know, but I can tell you this. Anecdotal evidence is that 4 years ago on my block here in Nevada, a swing state, 4 years ago, I look out my front window, there were 3 Biden signs. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now you flash forward to today. There are 0 Biden signs and there are 4 Trump signs. There was not 1 Trump sign in my entire neighborhood last year. Now on my block, there's 4. So, I mean, that's just indicative in a swing state that, to your point, Natalie, people are frustrated. They are struggling, and they want a change. And so, you know, that's just anecdotal on the election, you know, you know, what I'm seeing. Let's pretend that you know, anecdotal evidence is wrong, that they just hate Trump enough that they're just going to continue voting for what we're doing here. Okay, so let's just pretend that that's the case. I don't think that Kamala gets, you know, she doesn't get full Congress, you know, so it's still split. So even if you get a Harris administration, yeah, there's a lot of problems with that, you know, on many levels. But with the most important economic issues of, you know, impacting the markets with things like an unrealized capital gains tax or you know, an extremely onerous set of rules and regulations for smaller companies, like I think that it's going to be very difficult for her to get things like that done because there is still there's still a split Congress. Likely. The other thing is, who knows? If she gets in, she may pack the Supreme Court, and then it's all bets are off. Then it means there pretty much is no election ever again. So, you know, but I don't believe that that's going to happen. I don't believe that she would be able to get a full slate and you know, a fully democratic government. So, and if that's the case, then we're going to get more of what we're getting, and we're probably going to get more spending. We, you know, a massive amount of wasteful spending. Like right now, you've got some southeastern states that are literally underwater. Like they don't have power. They're struggling. They don't have water. They can't operate their hospitals, and they don't have electricity to hospitals. So, and we're not sending money there, but we're sending money overseas. You know, sending however many billions more were approved yesterday to go to Ukraine. It's just a demonstration of wasteful spending, more deficit spending that ultimately will cause inflation, yet it will not cause productivity here. And that's a problem, you know, unless you count some of the back channel defense contracts that come out of Ukraine. But that's the problem.
As James Lavish revealed, Bitcoin has unique potential in today's uncertain economy. Markets may swing, and Bitcoin's value may face temporary jolts as trading capital moves through it. However, with central banks and governments expanding the money supply to handle growing debt, Bitcoin's position grows stronger. Despite being a small slice of global assets, its influence is undeniable. Long-term, Bitcoin will benefit from this expansion more than any traditional asset. With the world trapped in cycles of debt and leverage, Bitcoin could rise to become a more powerful hedge than even gold, offering security and growth in an economy that demands stability. What about you? Do you think Bitcoin will be able to change many lives? Anyway, guys, before we go, if you want to stay most up to date on the crypto and Bitcoin world, make sure to subscribe to my daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It's a concise resource for the latest expert predictions, breaking news, and top on-chain analysis. Trusted by over 50,000 subscribers for insightful crypto investment information. Don't miss out on the opportunity to stay informed in the crypto market. The link is in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed today's video and that it provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.